Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya
Samastachana Kalyane Niradham Karunamayam Namami Chinmayan Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram. Letter 3. Om Narayana Smriti. Uttarakasi 29-1951. Wish you all well. The letter was received at Gangotri in due course. Usually in the Himalayas, severe winter sets in the end of Chaturmasya, and so I descended to Uttarakasi some days ago. We go to Uttarakasi in summer. Okay. Swami Tapovan Maharaj spends summer in Gangotri and comes down to Uttarakasi after summer. So that's why he says here, severe winter sets in at the end of Chaturmasya, so I descend to Uttarakasi. For him, if the winter starts getting cold, maximum he comes would be to Uttarakasi. Now he says, in every one of your letters, your love and respect for spiritual life and devotion for sadhus shine out. And so I rejoice and honor you. It is a spiritual life every wise man desires, not a worldly one. The dog and the pig lead a sensuous life. Is it a sign of wisdom to run after a life of the senses? Certainly not. In every one of your letters, your love and respect for spiritual life and devotion to the sadhus, to the seekers, is shining out. Now that is something which we should keep in mind. When we have love and respect, we would like to possess it. We would like to cultivate it. So love and respect for a higher way of life is very, very important. Once we have that, then we would seek. In every one of your letter, your love and respect for spiritual life and devotion for sadhus shine out. Respect for seekers, respect for knowledge is very important. There are people who seek the truth. And at almost every age we had somebody or other regularly, sincerely seeking the truth. Now that's how Hinduism is a living culture till date. Living civilization till date. Because there were seekers at every age. We could be ruled, invaded, dominated, forced not to follow certain practices. Entire Gurukula system of ours was destroyed. Entire. And it was a crime. In British India, Gurukula, if you follow, it was a crime. They were getting people arrested. That's how the knowledge is, various things were taken away. But in spite of all that, there were seekers. Invasion, it was not easy. When people had the nation had 800 years of invasion? In all times, when you were at the peak of glory and slaved, in all times seeking was not given up. There was some respect for this. That's how it is. It is there, it is available till date. It is the spiritual life every wise man desires, not a worldly one. Have you read Brahma Sutras anytime? Narada Bhakti Sutra? You know, the first word in these sutra books are atato. Atato. Atato means therefore. Strange, isn't it? The first word of the book says therefore. Opening sentence. You go somewhere, your opening sentence. Therefore, I am telling you all this. You need to say, sadhana is important, therefore I am telling you all this. Opening word, therefore. But these books have been written in that style, therefore. Now, what does that word therefore mean? Pages of commentaries are there on that one word, atato, therefore. I have seen life sufficiently, therefore I am seeking. I have seen the world enough. I have seen what this world can offer. Therefore, you understand? That word therefore indicates something earlier. Therefore, I am coming. So we also have to understand here when he says, it is a spiritual life every wise person desires, not a worldly one. Let us get this point clearly. When do we come into spiritual life? When does that urge becomes more? A casual desire becomes a quest. When? When I have seen the world sufficiently. I have seen the world, I have seen what this world can offer. This is not what I want. I've seen it. And all of us have lived enough to understand the world. So having seen it, one should seek. So he says, it is a spiritual life every wise man desires, not a worldly one. The dog and the pig lead a sensuous life. Is it a sign of wisdom to run after a life of the senses? Now this question is, look at what kind of a question is that? The dog and the pig lead a sensuous life. Is it a sign of wisdom to run after a life of the senses? We just get through these words, we just get a glimpse what kind of a guru he was. It only makes us think how much more compassionate Gurudev was to tolerate us. Please think about it. This is the teacher. To Grahasthas he is writing. It is the dog and the pig which will run after sensuous life. Is it wisdom to go after the senses? I mean, it is pure truth. But those who have become seekers, for them, it is very clear. Is it wisdom to run after senses? For those who are not seekers, this line would be too hard to swallow. It will be too hard to swallow. What do you mean? But what kind of a teacher he was to put a question like this. So he says, the dog and the pig lead a sensuous life. Is it a sign of wisdom to run after a life of the senses? Certainly not. The ignorant ones who pursue sensuous pleasures, alas, know not, because of their ignorance, what a miserable life they are leading. Those who run after this, they do not know. They do not know that there is something higher. And once we do not have an idea that there is a better life ahead, there is a much higher life, If people who do not know, they would pursue only this. So he says, certainly not. The ignorant ones who pursue sensuous pleasures, alas, know not, because of their ignorance, what a miserable life they are leading. Discrimination is the result of common sense. Why have common sense if one is to be led away by the whims? Viewed with discrimination, who can find pleasure in the senses? The ignorant alone hanker after them, hoping to find lasting pleasure. On the fulfillment of a desire, there is a sense of satisfaction, but the momentary pleasure is so mixed with pain and sorrow that our ancient rishis considered it as poisoned, though a dainty food. Happiness is a serious business. How happy are we? To get one moment of happiness, what all we go through. First notion, that if I get something from outside, I will be happy. That itself we are starting in the wrong foot. First step itself is a fault. And then to find that, what all we do to squeeze a bit of happiness from that world. And when we get it, how long are we happy? That very famous story, a man hanging in a well, he's about to fall into a well, a tiger chasing him. It's a picture we can't forget. It's a painting worth keeping in your house. It will remind us continuously, I'm telling you, it is a painting worth. There is nothing to discourse on it. You just see the painting, it will reflect our life. A person was running away because the tiger was chasing him. He slipped and he was falling into a well. He caught hold of a rope or a creeper which was there. He was hanging. If he falls, he will fall into the well. And that was a dry well. And because of all this ruffling, the cobra which was sleeping below woke up. Cobra below woke up and looking at him. He is hanging and looking at the cobra below. And above the tiger is waiting, saying, come up. And at that time a rat came to chew the rope away. The rat is chewing off the rope. That means any time it may break. And then you go down to the cobra. Oh, before it breaks, let me climb up. The tiger is waiting. You look at this situation. And at that time, with all this, the beehive above got shaken up. So the bee started stinging him. I'm not talking about somebody else. In all that, the bees are stinging, the rat is chewing away the rope, the cobra is waiting down, and the tiger is waiting up, and few drops of honey was falling. And the man sticks his tongue out. I tell you, frame this picture, okay? Keep it. It will remind us strongly what is our condition. In these conditions of extreme uncertainty and threat and insecurity, anxiety, few drops of pleasure we get. That's the life. And we continue to pursue this. So Swamiji says here very clearly, the ignorant ones who pursue sensuous pleasures, alas, know not because of their ignorance what a miserable life they are leading. Can anybody call this life a great life? A cobra below, a tiger above, bees stinking you, and few drops of honey we collect. Discrimination is the result of common sense. Let's understand this well. We see the world. It need not happen to us, but we see the world around us and saying, hey, this is not what I want to be. Have you seen people who are aged? As age takes over, body starts deteriorating, health goes down, can't see. Nothing can be done about it. You can't see after some time. Listening is also gone. Think. Body can't do anything, but the desires in the mind is not exhausted. Captive in a room, probably in a bed. You live a decade or so. Watching that, we should know that can be our condition tomorrow. You prepared? Are we prepared? What can be with us when we get into a position like that? And we can't avoid. If one lives long enough, we do not know with what prarabdha we have come, how long we are going to live. If we live long enough, this cannot be avoided. It cannot be avoided. If we live long enough, we will get there. What can be with you when we get there? Your strength, your wisdom. Yavad vitto parjana saktaha tavan nija parivaro raktaha paschat jivati jarjara dehe vartam kopina prichyati gehe. Not one person at home may be there to give you time. In today's world, how is it? The load of work each one has, the occupation of the mind, where is the time? We may land up there. When we see people who have already landed up, I need not land there, but seeing that, it is common sense saying, this can happen to me. Prepare. If this happens to me, nobody will be there to help. I need to help myself. I need to be stronger. I need strength. It is not that at that time I will cultivate strength. It is very hard. How can we do it at that time? If you know old people, and if they write diaries, read some of them. I have read, I know about it. Aged people, living alone. Read some of their diaries. They may not be very Vedantic, but read. That will make us understand. That it is not all cause-y. We can't be sure what the prarabdha would take us to. So it is common sense that there is a high possibility of these kind of things and we could land up there. If we land up there, there is none. But only we have to go through it. And for that, strength and wisdom is the only way. Common sense is to prepare yourself. If I land up there, I would know to deal with it. Is it a sign of wisdom to run after the life of senses? Certainly not. The ignorant ones pursue sensuous pleasures. Alas, know not because of their ignorance what a miserable life they are leading. Discrimination is the result of common sense. Why have common sense if one is to be led away by his whims? Everything without thinking if we have to go. Viewed with discrimination, who can find pleasure in these senses? Momentary joy need not be pleasure. It need not be happiness. The ignorant alone hanker after them, hoping to find a lasting pleasure. Only the ignorant thinks, okay, tomorrow this will be better. If I get that, would be better. Instead of preparing, let me be better tomorrow, we are hoping we will have a better tomorrow. I should be better tomorrow, not that tomorrow will be better for me. Let me develop, that way. The ignorant alone hanker after them, hoping to find lasting pleasure. On the fulfillment of a desire, there is a sense of satisfaction, momentary. It just happens. That desire is out of the head and we find, okay, there is some peace. But the momentary pleasure is so mixed with pain and sorrow that our ancient rishis considered it as poisoned, though a dainty food. Which wise man will spend his life to obtain fleeting pleasures mixed with hundreds of sorrows? This line is to be remembered. Which wise man will spend his life to obtain fleeting pleasures mixed with hundreds of sorrows? Who will follow this? A little alert, we will not fall into it. If sensuous life is really happy, what need is there for God? If sensuous life is really happy, what need is there for God? Who is the embodiment of bliss or a life that is divine? What is the need of God? And what is God? An embodiment of bliss. Why run after this? See, we could be believers of God. In belief, God. In practice, Charvakas. Charvakas are people who believe Maranam Moksha. You die, moksha. Do you live further? No. Epicurean, living a life of pleasure and happiness, make merry and just live. You don't have enough money? Borrow. I need to pay it back. Forget it. Nothing. Why? Maranam Moksha. You die and it ends. How many people live that way? That they think death is the end of everything. With death, everything is over. There's no heaven nor hell. There's no life continuing. Death is the end. How many people are convinced about it? Then why live? You can end yourself anytime. Because it's the end. And what difference it's going to make? You went 20 years before or you went now? It makes no difference. Not deep thinkers, very shallow in thinking, have not questioned life sufficiently, have not used enquiry. Therefore, they believe this is how it would be. So, and all that they know is go gain more pleasure. And it doesn't come that way. So he says, why seek God then? If pleasure is everything and there is no God, why seek it? Now he says, for a worldly man, wealth and other sense objects produce recurring grief, yet their mind clings on to them. That is the great Maya. The objects in the world, has it not given you sorrow? Have you dropped them? The object gives me sorrow, but I don't let it go. You remember on a quest, that story we included, Gurudev's, that a man was sitting on the banks of Ganges and a cane was floating. He went and caught the cane, my cane, my cane. For moments it was with you. Mine, mine. Something which comes for a while, mine, mine. We hold on to it and then we are not able to let go and then we are a victim of it. So he says here, for a worldly man, wealth and other sense objects produce recurring grief, yet his mind clings to them. That is the great Maya. Let us understand this part well. I need to be happy. No doubt about it. All of us want to be happy. Let's be clear about it. But let us understand that doesn't depend on the world outside. We need to understand this well. I want to be happy. There is nothing wrong in seeking happiness. But seeking where is the question. You think objects will give us happiness? Certainly not. It can give us for a while, but the same object can turn out to be a sorrow at another time. So the objects do not have it, don't seek it there. Look out for the right direction. Once you are clear about it, then there it is not hard to play with the objects of the world. You can play. After all, the objects, emotions and thoughts is a field. One can go in and play, but not expecting happiness there. So Swamiji says here, for a worldly man, wealth and other sense objects produce recurring grief, yet he clings to them. That is great Maya. Now comes a beautiful line of instructions. This indiscretion should be overcome by discriminating thoughts. This mistake what we make, we should overcome this mistake with right understanding. Remember we discussed earlier, if I get an object, how long will I be happy? I want something. If I think this desire is what I want, okay, get it. With absolute clarity, how long that will make you happy. With that clarity, you go after a desire, there is no harm at all. But without that understanding, if you run after a desire, then we are moving in from ignorance. So with that kind of a clarity one should pursue. So he says, this indiscretion should be overcome by discriminating thoughts. Right analysis are very important. When the ignorance is destroyed, pursuit of sense objects will cease. When clarity happens, this wrong way of life will be dropped. Till we become clear, we will be seeking only this way. Till we become clear. So he says here, this line is important. When the ignorance is destroyed, pursuit of sense objects will cease. That ignorance has to go. What is the ignorance? I think this object will still make me happy. Give that up. This is vairagya. This is the vairagya recommended by scriptures. This dispassion is what the scriptures talk about. What do you think would be the greatest achievement? Or what is your greatest achievement till now? What is the greatest achievement till now? Think. If I have to say, sit quietly, reflect and say, what is my greatest achievement? Vairagya should be on top. Oh, I managed detachment. That needs to be congratulated. That is achievement. I brought property all over the world. You're going to take it and go? Is that very difficult? Oh yeah, very difficult. How many people have got it? Anything of the world is no use. On the other hand, if you turn back and look, I cultivated detachment. That is something worth. So what is our greatest achievements? It should not be measured by what we do in the world, what we do subjectively. This is the Vairagya scriptures are talking about. If we have this, we are detached. We live with dignity. There's one small book, I remember taking it sometime long ago, called Demand Ashtakam. My shopping list. 8 verses Gurudev has talked about. In one of them he says, the last one, when my life fades away like a fading lotus, I will come to you, O Lord, without any shame, head held high, with steady steps. That's the way the exit should be. When we need to exit from here, we should go that way. I come to you, O Lord, without any shame. I am not ashamed. I have done what I have to do. With head held high, I went there, managed to do what I have to do. I am coming back to you now. It's so beautiful. He says, this is one of the demands we should have. That when my life fades away, I come to you with head held high. No guilt. Steady steps. Firmly walking. Finishing should be like this. It doesn't matter how we started. It doesn't matter what kind of a mess we landed into or what kind of a mess we created. It doesn't matter. How we finish is important. The finish should be this way. I come to you, O Lord. I did what I have to do and here I'm coming back. With steady steps, walking with absolute confidence. No guilt. And that kind of a journey we can take, we can walk. And the exit should be of that kind, that's quality. Detachment, Vairagya would be the base. Upon it only we can stand. If we have Vairagya, we will not compromise. And every compromise is self-insulting. Your intellect says something and the heart compromises. Every moment. Continuous compromise. How do you think about yourself? What is one's own image? Self-image. Each one thinking about oneself. Compromise. Why do I compromise? There's not enough detachment. I feel this is very important for me. I need this. Compromise. There's no value. A life of continuous compromise will take away the self-worth completely. It cannot be given by outward success. It will come back only when you start reliving, accepting that I have faltered. Let me bounce back. And now this time I will hold on to Dharma. I will hold on to my values. If we can come back, only that way we can. Otherwise the image about ourselves will be shattered. So he says here, this is the Vairagya recommended in the scriptures. This is what the books talk about. Live here in this world with this kind of detachment, dispassion. Vairagya, now he makes it a very clear point, very, very important. He says, Vairagya, dispassion, is the first step in the endeavor to realize God. Vairagya is the first step in the endeavor to realize God. If I want to seek that, if I want something in the world, different things. If I want infinity, I want God, I want the highest. If I want that, he says very clearly, Vairagya is the first step in the endeavor to realize God. A mind devoid of vairagya will not get concentrated upon godly sadhanas. A mind devoid of vairagya, what will be the pursuit of that mind? Worldliness. Something or other of the world is what the mind would be occupied. How can it focus on godly sadhanas? Because the mind is interested in that. One instruction. When you sit for prayer. Let's say, in your regular schedule, you sit for prayer, let us say morning 7 o'clock or 6:30 to 7 is your prayer time. Meditation, japa. Don't keep any appointment 7 to 7:30. Just keep that as leisure. 6:30 to 7 is your prayer time. Half an hour after your prayer time, keep it compulsory leisure. Don't take anything at that time. After prayer, I'm just going to be quiet for a while. This is important. This leisure after prayer is important. Otherwise, you know what you will do? 6:30 you will sit and be looking at your watch. 7 o'clock, oh, I need to do this, I need to do. After prayer, keep a buffer time of doing nothing. The prayer would be with more intense, more relaxed, more calmer, more quieter. I'll be now doing. And there is time after this, so I'm free. If not, whatever is our immediate achievement or immediate appointment, the mind would run into it. Not all have the capacity to drop one and then go into the other experience, completely dropping the past and moving into the next. It's better that we have this buffer time so that the mind is at calm. Otherwise, the next immediate requirement or appointment, the mind will be thinking of even in prayer. So even a small thing like that, a regular appointment can disturb prayer. More attached to the world, where to go? How? The mind will go to God. So that is why foundation is vairagya. And that line, what he says, is very, very powerful line where Swamiji says clearly, this is the vairagya recommended in the scriptures. Vairagya is the first step in the endeavor to realize God. A mind devoid of vairagya will not get concentrated upon godly sadhanas. At the root of all evil is passion. Now, you relax, okay. The word passion, which is indicated here, is different from the word passion, what we use today. Follow your passion. You understand? Here, passion does not mean that. Our languages have limitation. The meaning keeps changing. The connotation is different times. So when we say passion, earlier passion was a negative word. When I was growing up, passion was a negative word. It's a bad word, it was. Negative, saying. Like close to understanding of passion today would be close to lust. Passion was used that way. Slowly, passion became a good word. That word slowly changed. It became a good word. Today, sick is a good word. Yeah, you don't know. If you do not know, you are outdated. Sick is a good word. You are a little behind. One generation back. There's a generation gap. Yeah. Sick is a good word. For those who do not know, I'm telling you. You see a beautiful painting and it's beautiful. The teenagers today, Instagram language. That is sick. That is sick means it's great. It's good. Wicked is a honorable word today. Wicked. You go check the teenagers' language. Wicked means good. That's wicked means congratulate. For us it was like, don't be wicked. Insulting word. That you are a cruel person, crooked thinking, don't be wicked. Today, wicked is a cool word. Sick is a cool word. Passion is a cool word. Language has changed. What Swami Tapovan Maharaj says passion means this uncontrollable desire for the world. Not the inner calling or swadharma or anything. It doesn't mean that way. What he meant is desires which are not controllable and you want them badly in the world. So he says, at the root of all evil is passion, this uncontrollable desire. It is what makes the mind unsteady. Beautiful line. What makes our mind unsteady? Uncontrollable desire makes our mind unsteady. If anybody says, I have a steady mind, that means your desires have dropped less. If my mind is unsteady, that means the desire loads are more. So here, look at these lines of Swami Tapovan Maharaj are like definitions, each line. It's a sutra, an aphorism. You can open it and speak. So look, he says here, at the root of all evil is passion. It is what makes the mind unsteady. Destroy passion with wisdom and get established in dispassion. Destroy passion, this uncontrollable urge for the worldliness. Destroy that and get established in detachment, dispassion. Now he says again, develop no attachment to anything. Welcome whatever comes. Willingly give up whatever goes. If we can get here in life, we can get here in life. What is that? Develop no attachment to anything. Whatever comes, don't develop attachment. Willingly welcome what comes. Whatever has to come, thank you, God. This I need, it came to me, thank you, God. Welcome what comes, because it comes to us for our growth. It comes to us for us to transform. It comes to us because we deserve it. It can't come to us that way. And many a times we will not be able to understand why this has come to me. We won't know it. At another point of time you can understand, oh, this was the reason it happened to me. At that point we will not know, it is only later. I think in the recent times the person who explained this much better was Steve Jobs. His talk on connecting dots, please listen to it. He says it so beautifully, in the language in which we can connect and understand. Connecting dots. Why this happened? At that point I will not know. At another point of time I know why this happened, because you are able to connect the dots. The connecting dots happens in the future. The wisdom or understanding of the connecting of dots happens in the future, not when something is happening. So we should only know this has happened for a reason. We should be clear about it. So he says here, Destroy passion with wisdom. Get established in dispassion. Develop no attachment to anything. Welcome what comes. Willingly give up what goes. Both can be understood only when we connect the dots. And that means it will be only understood later point of time, not at the moment. When something comes, why it came? I won't know it. You wait. When something went away, why it went away? I won't know. You wait. But I must have the faith that it has come or it has gone with the reason. And that reason is for my good. Develop no attachment to anything. Look, you loaded lines. Welcome what comes. Willingly give up what goes. There is no need to worry about either. Oh, Vedantin. If you learn to live Vedanta, it's a very beautiful life. Can go around, play with it. If a person has this quality, can the world ever tease that person? Can the world do anything? Sant Tukaram, they asked him, are you scared of death? And his answer was, my death is dead. What do you do? What can death do to him? A person who says, my death is dead. My death is dead. I am immortal. Now the death has no value there. You understand? That statement of Tukaram has made Yama impotent. My death is dead. Now what are you going to do? If similarly we understand this, develop no attachment to anything. Welcome what comes. Willingly give up what goes. There is no need to worry about either. What can the world do to you if you live this? If this we start practicing, what the world can do to us? And look at the long strides we take towards our goal. It's not short steps. If we are able to practice this, it is long strides. Walking faster. Welcome what comes, willingly give up what goes. There is no need to worry about either. Live in the living present. I have never heard a line like this except in his work. We have all heard live in the present. We have heard this, live in the present. But this line says, live in the living present. What a powerful line. Live in the present. Live where? In the living present. Means do not see anything beyond the moment. Just be there. If we can practice this, come to that moment and live. That is God realization. He says here, live in the living present. Think not of the past or the future. If one attains this state of dispassion, one's mind will get fixed upon God. One will find joy in the worship of God. That blissful Lord is no longer far. Soon it will be possible to realize and secure liberation. If we learn to be in the now, live in the living present. Make sure this moment is real, let us be here. Why go into the future unnecessarily? Or why drag back into the past? Don't. Welcome what comes, willingly let go. If this is practiced, then he says God realization is not far. It all depends upon how determined we are for it. If we want this world as a playground for you to just play and move, this has to be practiced. You want God, this has to be practiced. Then the world is a playground, you just play. How do you play? Live in the living present. Welcome what comes. Willingly let go what goes. What has to come has come at the right time, and what has to go will leave at the right time. We may not understand it now, but at another point of time we can connect the dots. We will know it all made sense. Isn't it in your life also? Everything you see. When what happened at a later date makes so much of sense. Simple. Dr. Abdul Kalam wanted to become a pilot. Okay. He didn't have the height. Short man. They rejected him. Good or bad? You understand? Had he been a pilot, what at the most he would have become an Air India pilot? Good or bad? At that time it was an avalanche of sorrow for the young man. I am qualified, I didn't have a height, I was rejected. When he turns back and looks at it, how grateful he would be. Thank God I was rejected. Thank God I was dropped. They didn't give me that. Became the President of India. All the flights were in his control. Travels in the fastest plane afterwards. At that point, it would have been a sorrow of deep intense. Fortunately, he met Shivananji. When this rejection happened, he met Swami Shivananji. And Swami Shivananji told him, defeat the defeatist in you. The man picked up his life again. Now what a difference he made. Look at the words, defeat the defeatist in you. Gurudev was jailed, freedom struggle, put in jail. His health deteriorated at that point of time. Almost close to death, good or bad. It made him think, if I get one more chance to live, I will solve this puzzle called life. If I get one more chance to live, if I live, what is this life? Suddenly, a young man in face of death, almost dying, everybody gave up hope, throw him out. Chucked out of the prison, what must be his mind? On health grounds, that just throw him out. He would die and that would become an issue. Because he was a leader of a revolutionary group. Throw him out. Weak body, about to go. And one thought came to him, if I get a chance to live again, what is this life? I will find out all about it. That was good, isn't it? So when we connect dots, we will know everything was for good. It helped me to go to the next stage. It helped me to shift to the next level. Welcome what comes. Willingly let go what goes. No need to worry of either. Live in the living present. Live in the living present Think not of the past or the future. If one attains this state of dispassion, one's mind will get fixed upon God. This is dispassion. Accepting what comes. Letting go what goes is dispassion. It's your life. This is the way one should be. Think not of the past or the future. If one attains this state of dispassion, what is dispassion? Think not of the past or the future. Dispassion. Vairagya has a beautiful definition, isn't it? Think not of the past or the future. No need to worry about either. This state of mind is dispassion. If one attains this state of dispassion, one's mind will get fixed upon God. One will find joy in the worship of God. The blissful Lord is no longer far. Soon it will be possible to realize Him and secure liberation. Who is saying this? The man who has reached there. You understand? He has walked, he has reached, he knows what took him there. Knows for sure what took a person there. This state of dispassion takes a person there. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya. Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya.